Hello, hola, and buenas, LA Galaxy fans, and welcome to a special edition of La Cuna Galaxiana called, well, it's a working title, but it's called the Los GaTacticos Show. And of course, it is a working title, like I said. So, you guys in the comments, let us know if you like that name. We think it's pretty spiffy, if you ask me. But before we get to the name or why we've been calling that, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ananda, one half of La Cuna Galaxiana. And you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. As you can see today, guys and gals, we are doing something new, something a little bit different today for the show. Because for one, well, the other half of La Cuna Galaxiana is taking the day off today. Today is the Lord's Day. We are recording this on a Sunday. Today is also Father's Day. So, by the way, shout out to all you dads, todos los abuelos, todos los padres, todos. We love you guys, and yeah, hope he's enjoying that because he is not with me today. So I did put in a phone, or I did put in a phone call to my other strike partner who is with me today. That's none other than El Profe himself, Alex Ruiz of the Galactic Tribune. Alex, how you doing today, man? And of course, tell the people where they can engage with you and show you some love online.
Yeah, so I'm doing really good, and I'm really excited for this new project that we're starting together. And look, this video, we've done a lot of research, done a lot of preparation, really excited to get this going. But yeah, you can find me and my articles and my written work at thegalactictribune.org, and you can also find my content, my breaking news, analysis, stuff like that on my X Twitter account at ALXRuiz15. So you can go on there to engage with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't engaged with this guy online or subscribing to the Galactic Tribune, what are you guys doing? Come on, guys, get on it. Go ahead and show some love to Alex. But speaking of engaging and showing love, you can always engage with myself and Rob online at La Cuna Galaxiana on all your social platforms. And of course, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, y'all, and smash the likes up. It would really, really help us out. Just do it now, just before you forget. Go ahead and hit those likes. And yeah, and we'll keep doing these for you guys unless we get canceled. So then we'll stop doing that for you guys. But hopefully we don't get canceled, Alex. But yeah, man, let me set up first what the Los GaTacticos videos are all about and what you can expect. In these series of videos, Alex and I are going to be taking a closer look at the tactical part of the game as it relates to the LA Galaxy, providing more in-depth analysis, tactical analysis, insights, and trends that we're noticing and that we really want to highlight. So in today's edition of Los Gatácticos, we are going to be highlighting LA Galaxy DP Gabriel Pec, who was signed for a reported fee of 10 million in the winter transfer window, making him the most expensive signing in LA Galaxy history. It's funny, Alex. So we were supposed to record this, like last week or 2 weeks ago, and coming into that, I was saying, you know what? He's had 8 contributions. This was before the SKC game just the other day, just yesterday for us. Again, we are recording this on a Sunday. And I was saying that he needs to step it up the second half of the season. I actually mentioned that in our mid-season review. If you caught that episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. And it's serendipitous that we just had this SKC game and he was probably the man of the match, right? So it's kind of interesting that we're doing this at this time. But I mean, what do you think of, real quick, just to kick things off, what do you think of his start so far as, in the LA Galaxy and the start of his career and life in LA?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Let's go all the way back to the winter transfer window, right? We heard names like Ramon Sosa, like Facundo Pelistri, like Pablo Solari, right? These young wingers being linked to the LA Galaxy. And then Gabriel Pec's name appears, and sooner rather than later, compared to these other names that I mentioned, the Galaxy get the deal done. They send reportedly around 10 million to Vasco da Gama for the young winger. And look, I think everybody within the LA Galaxy and people who have been researching and talking about Peck, during his transfer saga, everybody knew he was very much a raw prospect. There was a lot of good things on display on his tape, his speed, just his directness, his attacking instincts. He had a great first season in the first division for Vasco da Gama in 2023, and then he was off with Brazil. To unfortunately they couldn't qualify for the Olympics. But yeah, look, a lot of the things that I heard about Gabriel Peck during that time was, look, this kid's got a lot of potential, and if we can mold him, if we can develop him to be more clinical, to be more consistent, to be able to show off those talents and those intangibles that the Galaxy scouts are really high on, they needed to kind of start seeing that more and more. And as the seasons progress, now with the 17 game sample size of Peck, I think we could say now we're seeing that progression. And we're going to highlight right now the keys and moments where there was a bit of worry, but also the moments where he's improved as well. So really excited to break down Gabriel Pec, and after his game against SKC, there's definitely a lot of good momentum heading his way.
Yeah, man, I saw a lot of chatter online just being really excited about Gabriel Pec, especially after that last game. So, like I said, it's kind of serendipitous that we're doing this now. But yeah, so guys, in this, one of the things that you can expect in these videos is a lot of video, maybe some tactics boards, and we pull out all the stops for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. So yeah, man, with half a season officially in the books, and it's officially 18 games now, right? So like Alex said, we're going to break down his good and bad moments during his start to life in LA. But first, of course, we want to start with just like an overall like setup of like the key stats, sort of how he's been performing this season so far. And for that, I mean, I'm the stats guy in Cuna Galaxiana, but you know what? I got a stats partner today in El Profe. So Alex, take it away, man.
Yeah, so I think one of the big things with Gabriel Pec, now that we've updated this, is he's played 17 games, missed the one game because of his wedding. He started in 14 games, 6 assists on so far on the season, 5 goals, 24 shots on target. I think some pretty good numbers. 19 chances created or key passes, as the
Mm.
MLS site has it as. But yeah, one of the big things we also highlighted it as well was just the disparity between his left-footed shots and right-footed shots. Will be something that we touch on as well. His pass completion percentage is at 89.5%, which for wingers, that's pretty good. And you will take a look now at FBref and the percentile charts, where you can kind of see a bit more of where he ranks among MLS wingers. So as you can see, very much in the 90th percentile and above for stats like total shots at 3.6 per 90, at 0.42 assists per 90. And I think the big thing here, and the one thing we'll highlight as well, just his progressiveness. 6.2 progressive carries per 90 puts him in the 99th percentile. His
Wow.
touches in the attacking penalty area, 7.1 on a per 90 puts him in the 98th percentile, which is really, really good stuff you want to see out of a winger. And also as well, you kind of see that he's putting in a shift on the other side of the ball in the defensive end, where his tackles in the 75th percentile, 1.6 per 90, interceptions at 0.8 per 90, 88th percentile there. Blocks 1.1 in the 66th percentile. So he's not just being an attacking player like Ricky Puig, who doesn't really play a lot of defense. He's kind of doing it all. He's kind of showing that directness, that speed, and just that hustle to be able to play on both ends of the pitch. And we can see right now on his chart, courtesy of FB charts, where he kind of gives you a little bit of a mold of his game as well. So you see in his shot creating, he's really good. And when it comes to the assists, as we mentioned, 94th percentile. Non-expected penalty goals plus expected assists is really high, and those are really good stats to kind of show the danger that he's creating. Kind of provide you a visualization of just how effective he is on that side for the other Galaxy. When you look at his dribbling stats as well, carries into penalty area, as we mentioned, very high. Carries into
Mm-hmm.
final third, very high. Progressive carries. So you're seeing when he gets on the ball, he's not just being static. He's moving forward. He's moving closer to goal, and we'll touch on that more. But that's a big difference from last year. And in
Yeah,
possession, yeah,
Alex,
you can go on, Ananda.
I was going to ask you just one interesting thing that I see on this chart. And maybe, I don't know whether you think it's a byproduct of the system or the player itself, but he doesn't cross the ball a lot, does he? He's very low in that area, and also key passes. I'd like to see that number go up. What do you think there, Alex? You think it's just a byproduct of the system, or?
Yeah, definitely a product of the system, because Greg Vanney very much preaches about wanting to have control of the ball, right? Wanting to have positional play. And most times, I think we've seen this a lot during games. Just his displeasure with John McCarthy, right? When he kind of launches the ball up in the air. That's because, for most coaches, they, especially who like to play a very positionally strict game, who like to be very organized, when you kind of play those balls, the 50-50 balls up in the air, that's the moment where teams are at their most disjoint, where they're most disorganized. And the Galaxy have very much struggled in those moments when they're caught on the counter, when they're caught in transition. And you can see why Greg Vanney doesn't want to utilize that. So yeah, that kind of explains Vanney's philosophy on how he kind of approaches that. Explains why you don't see a lot of crosses into the penalty area.
Hmm.
Key passes, I mean, look, Gabriel Pec will mention very direct player, not going to necessarily be the kind of playmaking kind of guy compared to someone like Douglas Costa we saw last year. So I mean, those aren't something that should be red flags off the top of your head, but
Got
something
it.
that are like part of the system. And hey, this is Greg Vanney's philosophy. And look, and Gabriel Peck's signing was very much in mind of how can he fit into Greg Vanney's system. Is he the player that's out there and that's available that can fit the most into the system? And I think he's very much proven that through 17 games.
Sounds good. All right, man. Let's keep going.
Yeah, uh, yeah, I'm very much wanting to see kind of how this chart evolves within the next half of the year. Obviously, we have this now, so we'll be able to see later on in the season just how much better that gets. Um, and I think, yeah, right here we'll see all the shots that he has, most of them within the penalty box area, and you can see throughout the season an XG of 5.57, has 5 goals on the season. And I think what's so interesting here is you very much see a lot of, or if you look at the shots right here, you can see on the left side of this picture right here, a lot of those are from the right foot, him cutting in. Meanwhile, the
Mhm.
shots on the right side of this image, mostly on the left. And we'll talk about the disparity in a bit in another section dedicated just to that as well.
Yeah, I do like. I think a positive sign here, though, is that a majority of those are within the penalty box. He doesn't take a lot of shots outside the box, which that's a positive for me, definitely. And we'll look
Yeah,
at
he's
it.
getting himself in like those high
Yeah,
percentage areas, and that's what you
yeah.
want. And speaking of that, here's his heat map so far on the season. Look, really good stuff right here. I mean, let's go on the right wing. You can kind of see very much being attacked, involved within the rotations you see between Delgado and Yamane. Those guys very much very fluid, like to play very free, and you kind of see that where it allows for Gabriel Pec to get those touches a little higher on the pitch. And then on the left side, not as many touches, but we'll show right now another chart that kind of explains that. But you see that he doesn't get as much, and as I say that, you can see 29% of the LA Galaxy's attacks are on that left side.
Hmm.
Compare that to the right side, where it's 44%, which is a huge disparity. So
Yeah.
Gabriel Peck, no surprise, especially with Joseph Painter being out for 4 weeks, very much got to play on that right hand side and got to be part of the LA Galaxy's focus in the attack when he plays on that right side. When he plays on the left, very much he's not necessarily the guy that's going to get on the ball a lot, and it's going to depend on his runs off the ball.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. And it's going to be interesting to see. Again, you talked about trends and how these things are going to develop over time. We'll see if this trend stays this way in terms of us majority of the attacks coming from that right side, or are we going to vary the attack a little bit as the season goes on? Again, when you do attack on one side, though, for me at least, we do maybe get to tend to be a little too predictable. However, Yamane showed us some really, really good combination play and a lot of good technique and just skill set in the last couple of games. So maybe that is the side that we need to attack on, but that's going to be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, I'm very much excited to kind of see just what goes on in the evolution there. But one of the things I did mention, which is one of our first key points for this video, is Peck
Mm,
makes his best impact being direct, being that direct winger, right? I mentioned Douglas Costa a little bit earlier during our recording, and that's because Douglas Costa, the DP winger last season, wasn't like Peck, like a guy who runs after the ball, more of a guy who likes to kind of hover within that half space, being more of that creative player, a lot more still, doesn't really attack and go forward or be as progressive as we saw Gabriel Pec how high he was in those percentile rankings.
right.
He wasn't like that at all. So as we can kind of see in this film that we're going to pull up right now, Gabriel Pec, very much a guy that you don't want to get static. And look, here's the situation right here. He's got to stop, got to examine the play, look for the runs, doesn't play the right pass. And this isn't his strong suit. This isn't something that gets the best out of Pec. Here's another situation here where he has to stop, there's no runners. He's the one who has to create something, and he kind of just has to go back. He has that in his locker, but that's not where you get the best out of him. This is where you get the best out of him, where he's just running through spaces, looking to get as close to goal. And look, he creates something out of nothing here. Sure, this wasn't the most flashiest goal, but hey, he runs after the ball, creates a goal scoring opportunity, and opens up the scoring for the LA Galaxy. And then once again here, you can see he's so smart player, reads the spaces inside the box where there's nobody marking. Yamane crosses and boom, easy goal for Gabriel Pec to get. And that's just smart running as well. And look, here's another moment right here where Jovic and Puig have a lot of the RSL gravity, and then Pec, one touch finish, gets it past the goalkeeper. And that's exactly what you want to see as well. And this exactly is what we saw in this last game against SKC, where Gabriel Peck,
Hmm.
gets his assist for Joseph Painstill. I mean, look at this. He's just running right after the ball, just being direct, using his pace and speed, and then boom, playing that easy pass to Joseph Painstill. And I think if you can get Peck to play like that, you're going to unlock another level for Joseph Painstill. And I think that this adjustment in kind of getting Peck to maybe get less touches, but have those more impactful touches in the final third. I feel like that's a trade that you have to make. And like we mentioned earlier, Ananda, right? The Galaxy love to play on the right hand side, and that's usually where Joseph Paintsel is. So if Gabriel Peck can just be on that other wing, making those runs, being in the right position, then I think he can definitely get a lot more goals and assists and just have a lot less attention on him per se, considering the disparity of the attacks that go down the left and the right wing.
Yeah, it's interesting, Alex. Well, we have a guy that we play like weekend footy with, right? And he's a huge Vasco da Gama fan. So shout out Gustavo if you're listening to this, man. But one of the things that he said about Gabriel Pec when we first signed him was his decision making in the final third needs to be better. He's very raw, right? So I'm hoping that like putting him in the right positions, whether that's in and behind the back four or getting him 1v1 against, the either the wing back, preferably a center back, right, where we can use his speed. I would love to see that more, but what do you think of that? Does that sound like a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think look, the best wingers in the world make the right decisions, and they kind of just know how to play with the situations they're given. I think we're kind of seeing that a bit more with Gabriel Peck, right? I mean, he just came here to Major League Soccer, just got married. I mean, so he's
Right.
dealing with stuff in his personal life and trying to grow that out as well in a new country. So I think he deserves some time. And look, he's had half a season already, and we're seeing that development. So I don't think any of us can be mad of what we're seeing with Gabriel Peck. I mean, we just mentioned Greg Vanney's kind of using him in his best way, which is being direct. And I think that's a really, really key thing that you want to see a lot more of, where he's kind of just, uh, not like on the fly trying to figure it out on the pitch, but there's a system in place to get the most out of him. And that's a good thing to see.
Yeah. Well, another thing that we want to talk about too is, we looked at again those attacking sides, but Vanny's been using him on both wings, and I think it's interesting, just the difference in his playing style and how he gets deployed in either wing. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that too, Alex?
Yeah, I don't know if you can pull up maybe the disparities between the left and right wing attack just so we
Sure.
can see it one
Yep.
more time.
Yep.
But look, the big thing here is that on the right side, whenever you watch Greg Vanney's LA Galaxy, there's a lot of combination play. Like I mentioned, the rotations between Yamane, Mark Delgado, sometimes Ricky Puig when he gets in there, and then Joseph Paintsill or Gabriel Peck will just, put Peck in there or Paintsill there. They like to combine a lot in these tight spaces. They like to be able to move the ball, move the back line like that. And Gabriel Peck, we've seen it when he's feeling it. He can pull out the skills, those nutmegs, those flicks over defenders, just those quick touches that gives you the oohs and ahs whenever you're watching him. And I think playing on that right side, it also allows him to kind of just be able to have better opportunities to shoot the ball. And that's the one thing that we talked about Gabriel Peck with earlier when we talked about the shooting is that he gets his shots off in very efficient areas, right? Like if you're since he's very much a left-footed player playing on the right wing, he's gonna cut in to shoot, and usually those are kind of the better high percentage chances. And I think on the right wing you can kind of see that combination play and just his technical ability be on full display. I mean, if you look at Peck's goal against SKC this past weekend, that was on there. And I think we have a clip from that on there that we can also show where I was mentioning, look at the possession here. Yamane moving the ball, quick technical play. Joveljic sees the run, and then Peck is just able to kind of cut in, and then boom, he's in the danger spot. He's able to go to goal. And this is what I'm saying about playing on the right wing. You can do this kind of good tiki taka football. You can kind of play in these quick 1-2 combinations. And I think Peck is really good at that. And we saw him and Joveljic really have a good chemistry during the game against SKC. Very much both of them involved in each other's goals. And I think that's a good connection that you want to see if you're Greg Vanney compared to him on the left wing, where he's not going to be getting these kind of touches. He's not going to be
Hmm.
as involved. He's going to be more of a runner than a guy running with you at the ball. He's going to be more in charge of putting himself in the good positions, being able to kind of get those tap ins or get that switch ball. rather than being involved in the attack. And that's the dilemma Greg Vanney is going to have to figure out in this next couple of games, right? How am I going to deploy Gabriel Pec? Is it going to be in my best interest to put him on the left wing to start a game compared to the right wing, where lately he's been cooking, where he's been
Yeah.
understanding it a lot more, where he's been a lot more involved in the play, and you're reaping the fruits of him playing on the right wing.
Yeah, I think Greg Vanney, he mentioned it in his comments over the summer, heading into the season and the preseason. He's been taking notes from those coaches in England, right? He really likes those inverted wingers, left footer on the right, right footer on the left, because they can cut in and they can take that shot in dangerous areas, like you were saying, Alex. Although I will say this though, on the left, just the fact that there is that JP threat on the back stick on the far post, if he does play the left wing, I think Gabriel Pec has the service and the ability to, as we saw in the, I believe it was the third goal that we scored against
Yeah, the
SKC.
assist.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Beautiful ball over the top, and you got JP running down that right wing, and all you need to do is just put it in space, right? He'll get to it, and so
exactly.
that's a really really interesting thing that I like to him on the left wing. I think I agree with you though. To start the game, especially to be more effective, we want to play most of his minutes on the right wing, but that's not to say he's ineffective on that left wing.
No, it's not. It's just more of what's going to be Greg Vanney's approach, and this is why he's paid the big bucks to make those kinds of decisions. How
Right.
do I get the best out of Gabriel Peck? How do I get the best out of Joseph Paintsill? And look, I thought with Paintsill out, Peck really kind of took the control of the right wing. He put that on his shoulders, and I think he was very much one of the best LA Galaxy players during that stretch alongside Ricky Puig. So yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens. This kind of key point is more something to kind of look out for as the season keeps going, right? Something to keep an eye on, because a lot of players, if you can find their spot where they just start to rack up goals and assists, you won't usually take them out of there. But when you have a player like Joseph Paintsill, who unlike Peck is a more finished product, who has more years of experiences in different leagues, who has a reputation of just being a consistent player, it's going to be interesting to see if maybe Peck could dethrone Paintsill in that position. Could both Paintsill and Peck be playing as inverted wingers?
Mhm.
Again, not my decision to make. This is why Greg Vanney gets paid the big bucks.
And at least we're having a conversation that Greg Vanney has the tools at his disposal, right? Alex, very different conversation than we did last year, where Greg Vanney didn't
Exactly.
have many tools. So this is a good conversation that we're having. And again, I'm glad we're really doing this. So yeah, Alex, but you know what? Of course, we always criticize fairly, and we have constructive criticism here on La Cuna Galaxiana for sure, and I'm sure you do as well in your articles. But of course, one of the things that he does need to develop and he does need to improve on is developing a weak foot, right?
Yeah, that's the key thing with being a winger, right? Is a lot of the best wingers in the world, like a Vinicius Jr., right? They're very unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them so dangerous in open space. The thing with Gabriel Peck is, like Vinicius Jr., very good on the ball, very technical, can pull out the skills. But the players know he's going to be looking to get that shot on his left foot. He's going to be looking to cut in. And that can be a problem when, especially when you're playing in the Greg Vanney system where it's all about positional play. If he, you know, goes too inside, it cuts off the space for the other players. And we're gonna pull up some tape right now of kind of just showing that.
Before I fold this tape, though, guys,
Yeah,
really quick, Alex is not saying that Gabriel Pec is Vinicius Jr. Before I see you guys
yeah,
in the comments saying that, oh, Alex just compared. No, 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 no. He says very similar skill set. He's not Vinicius Jr. I just want to make
yeah.
that very clear.
There's very much a big distinction between Gabriel Peck and Vinicius
Right,
Jr.
right.
Thing with Vinicius
Uh,
Jr., very unpredictable, got lots of flair. Peck's got the flair, but I don't think he has that unpredictability factor that Vinicius has. And if he adds that factor, I think Gabriel Peck is very much an MVP caliber player in this league. And
yeah,
look, we'll show you the tape of what we're talking about. Look at this clip right over here, right? Peck's going to receive the ball on the right wing where he's going to be that inverted winger, cut inside. We showed this clip earlier, but look, he has the one-on-one. Nuhu right here is basically telling him, go on your right. Look at all the space I'm giving you as we highlight
it's
on the clip.
crazy, man.
And he doesn't attack it, mostly because I just don't think he's got that confidence yet to kind of be able to do that. Another clip here, Gabriel Peck, right winger, inverted, tries to get a shot off, cuts inside, and look how many players are on him. 4 or 5 Seattle players in this moment. Dribbles out, takes a shot, and there's 6 players now in front of him.
Yeah,
That's not very much effective. And again, he's cutting off the space. And then here, a recent game against Dallas where he gets a shot off his right. That's what you want to see. More of
yeah,
those quick shots here. Again, against Chicago, he's able to kind of dribble the Chicago defenders, anticipating him cutting in, but nope, takes that shot on his right. And you want to see that a lot more from him. It's just about kind of finding that balance between comfortability and also being able to challenge yourself and kind of put yourself in positions to create moments of magic. And that's what the LA Galaxy paid over $10 million for in Gabriel Peck.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, unless you're Arjen Robin, I mean, who's always on his left peg, but
Exactly.
somehow he creates space with that left peg. You've got to develop that weak foot, like you said, and the unpredictability. Although it's interesting, though, Alex, even with his left foot, I remember Greg in the post match talking to you guys about, or maybe it was before one of the matches, saying that he's been working on Gabriel's technique with his left foot, just getting a little bit more pace, a little bit more venom into that shot. He's been kind of either scuffing it or just hasn't found the right balance yet to hit those in the far post. It's interesting though, on the goal against SKC, he actually tricked the keeper because probably keeper had a scouting report that Gabriel Pec always goes far post, and he actually cut it back into the near post. I'd love to see that variability, but yeah, I think he's, the ceiling's there, right? I think we're both saying that the ceiling's there. We just gotta find the unlock.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, look, it's just about can he add that level of unpredictability to kind of elevate himself. The thing with Paintsel is, he has all these moves, and we've seen Paintsel score goals on his left foot, on his right foot. We've seen him kind of be able to, be comfortable in different scenarios. I need to see that more out of Gabriel Peck. And the more I see that, the more I think he's able to kind of elevate the LA Galaxy and raise the ceiling of the attack.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys and gals, we have taken a look at a lot of stuff today. Alex and I have sort of broke this down. We've made our observations and our key points. But now, as you can tell in the title of the thumb, we asked the question, and this is for you guys in the comments as well. Is Peck the final piece of the LA Galaxy puzzle? Now, again, Alex, we've crunched the numbers. We looked at all this footage. We basically scouted this guy inside out. So after all of that, what do you think, man? Is Gabriel Peck the final piece of the LA Galaxy puzzle to push this team to win silverware?
Yes, I think so. And look, we obviously know the LA Galaxy defense is the one thing need to fix, the one thing need to improve on. But I think I mean, they spent 20 million on wingers, Ananda in
Mm,
Paintsel and Peck. They
right.
spent a club record fee for Peck because they see the talent in him. And look, he's a guy that, as we mentioned earlier, right, has all the skills to be a match winner, has all the talent in the world to kind of elevate his game and continue to improve. Like we mentioned, I mean, he's still trying to settle into his country, both on the pitch and in his personal life. And I think once he finds that balance, he can be an MLS MVP candidate. And I genuinely mean that, Ananda. I
Mm,
see a lot of talent in this kid. You don't see a lot of
wow.
players in MLS have his speed, have his strength, have his ability to kind of be a game changer. And I think he's just a good presence to have alongside Joseph Paintsel. Paintsel is always going to be that guy to make those direct runs. But I think Gabriel Peck in the long term can be the guy who adds a little extra something to the attack. And I think if the Galaxy are going to win games, like say 4-3, right? Like that almost happened against SKC.
Right.
Gabriel Pec was the difference in that game, and he's the reason why the Galaxy got the win in that game. And I think if he can continue to play at that level, the Galaxy is going to continue to be among the top seeds in the Western Conference. And I think once playoff time comes around, we'll truly see what he's made of, right? All the best players elevate their games when the lights are at their brightest. And I think Gabriel Peck has that factor in him, has those intangibles, and I think he can genuinely be the guy that's going to be a key contributor if the Galaxy get their sixth MLS championship this year or the next following.
Ooh, I'm so glad you brought up those last couple of points, Alex, because so I would 80%, I'm gonna cop out. So I would 80% agree with you and say yes, but 20% of me says no. And this is why. It's not a knock on him. I think it's where he needs to raise his game too. But to have Gabriel Peck sort of be that guy, like that final piece, like you said, to win silverware and to get us over the line. I want to see him in big games. So, for example, the El Tráficos, the Clásicos, maybe in that 10-game stretch down the season. Is he going to score that game-winning goal? Is he going to save a point on the road where we really need the point for that top 4 position? Right? Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, and
I see you raising your
also
hand.
scoring away from home, because all his
Right.
goals and most of his assists have
Good
come at
point.
home. I
That's
think that's the
right.
one thing we kind of really need to see. I mean, I'm obviously right now in the Peck hype train, and
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of recency bias after his performance.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I mean, I think that's the one thing really stopping him from from us seeing him consistently as that kind of guy. Can he do it away from home? I think once he starts scoring goals away from home, then I think he's going to be able to kind of take off and go on another level.
So to that point, the 20% of me says no, and it's only because I feel like, and again, knock on wood, I don't know what the latest status is, and of course we'll update you guys later on this week on Cuna Galaxiana as soon as we hear something. But I feel like the final piece of the puzzle, Alex, is going to be that reported attacker that we're bringing in, like a Marco Reus, only because he's going to show these guys how to win. And that's the only thing. That it's a very minute, nuanced thing, but I feel like we need that experienced head up there that can flip a game on its head, that can score big, big goals and come up in big moments. Gabriel Pec, for all the good work that he's done, he hasn't shown me that quite yet. You've said it, away from home, even in big games like El Tráfico, right? We think about that, the loss at BMO Stadium earlier this year. I want to see him in those big games. So to that, because I haven't seen that yet, I feel like the final piece is going to be that experienced attacker that we bring in, right? Marco Reus, etc.
Yeah, very much. And I think nonetheless, Gabriel Pec is going to be a guy that a lot of the attacking burden is going to fall upon as the season gets on. And I think if he can continue to be as productive as he was against SKC, or maybe even just getting one goal or assist a game, right? I think that would
Yeah.
be good enough to kind of put the LA Galaxy attack at another echelon to the levels of right Inter Miami with Lionel Messi and RSL with Chicho Arango. I think him being consistent at that level elevates the LA Galaxy into that stratosphere of, hey, these are the teams you do not want to be going up against, and he'll be a player you do not want to go up against.
Yeah, exactly. Well, chat or comments section, you've heard our takes on Gabriel Pec and if he is the final piece of the puzzle that's going to take LA Galaxy as a contender for winning trophies, right? But what do you think? Go ahead and give us your takes in the comment section of this video. And let's have a conversation about this online, guys. Alex and I have it on record. Alex and I will respond to every one of your comments. So definitely let's hear those takes and tell us why. Tell us yes or no, but definitely tell us why. We love to hear your reasoning and sort of the reasons behind it. But Alex, man, I think it's time for us to sign off, but it was a pleasure doing this with you. Hopefully we do another one soon. Again, as long as it doesn't get canceled. And hope you all found this very informative and entertaining. Again, if you do like this topic of content and want us to do more, let us know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment and letting us know if Peck is that final piece. Give us some feedback. We'd really, really appreciate it. But before we sign off, Alex, go ahead and remind the folk where they can engage with you online.
Yeah, so you can find my content, more analysis, my news stories all on the galactictribune.org. And you can also find me on Twitter X at ALXRuiz15.
Awesome, man. Well, for Alex Ruiz, my name is Ananda Kirana, one half of La Cuna Galaxiana, and we'll be back with another episode again soon. Again, as long as we don't get canceled. So to know when the next show is, guys, you can always go ahead and follow us on all the socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. But till next time, take care, y'all, and G.